Coming up on this week's news, the electrician who's earning a whopping £150,000 a year, but says it's stressing him out. A court finds the electrical bunglers who left a TV presenter's home crackling with sparks, and the knife-wielding tool thieves who will stop at nothing to get into your van. Welcome to Electrical News Weekly, whether you're listening in the van, on site or down at the wholesale counter. I'm Joe Robinson, and I've been through the best of the electrical industry news to save you the trouble. And as always, if you think you've spotted the two words I've been challenged to slip into this week's show, comment with them below for the chance to win a prize. An electrician from Essex who's earning £150,000 a year says it comes at the expense of his mental health. Danny Webb loves the job, but says workloads are 100% too high at the moment. These are having a negative impact on his health and stress levels. He believes men in jobs like this suffer due to the conventional stereotype of the tradesman. Management pressure, customer pressure, the shortage of skilled people, hard physical graft and unrealistic goals all add to the anxiety of running an electrical installation business. Webb was speaking out as part of Mental Health Awareness Week. A study by the trade directory Checker Trade revealed that almost half of male construction workers are concerned that their workload is too high. Statistics from the report found that the building sector will soon need almost 1 million new recruits just to keep pace with demand. Charity Mates in Mind says that 2/3 of construction workers never discuss their mental health, and that men in the sector are 3 times more likely to take their own life than the average. Webb says another pressure is the fear of being replaced if you talk about it, as you're seen as being weak. He would still recommend electrics as a career, and he uses his social media presence to make being an electrician look cool and be taken seriously. If you or someone you know is suffering with their mental health, I've popped a link to the Mates in Mind website in the show notes. In other news, a TV presenter's home was left crackling with sparks after a visit from bungling tradesmen. Natalia Ferrara, a presenter on the QVC shopping channel, said she was frightened by sparks from her hairdryer, a radiator and a dimmer switch after a visit from Sandica Limited. The company, run by company director Edward Delly, was called in to install lighting and replace the fuse box at the property in Ascot, Berkshire. To Ms Ferrara's surprise, Delly didn't do the work on the day. Instead, she said a man called Alex was left to finish the job without supervision. Alex had allegedly only had a brief apprenticeship in Moldova. Prosecuting, Edward Elton said that there was a failure to ensure continuity of the earthing system. There were parts of the installation where the earthing could not have saved lives as it was designed to do because it wasn't complete. When interviewed about the offence, Delly admitted he had no electrical training himself. Instead, he relied on qualified electricians. Though he admitted the Moldovan worker was not NIC EIC qualified, the prosecutor said Delly and Sandica Limited admitted one count of being a trader knowingly or recklessly engaged in a commercial practice. This contravened the requirements for professional diligence under the Consumer Protection from Unfair Trading regulations of 2008. Jordan Santos Sindez, defending Delly, said the married father of 2 was his family's main source of income. Reading Crown Court heard that Delly's nephew had been recently killed serving in the Ukrainian army. This had had a very detrimental effect on Mr. Delly and his wife, said Santos Sindez. Judge Hassan Khan described the works as extremely shoddy and was especially critical of the fact that it wasn't checked properly. He ordered Delly to pay £1,500 compensation, £4,000 costs and a £2,000 fine. Tool thieves have been busy again this week in Manchester. They attacked an electrical contractor's van with a crowbar and managed to make off with a complete set of tools worth £2,000. Dan Williams from Worcester had only parked his vehicle for half an hour when a member of the public told him that men were ripping his van apart. It was only 2 weeks previously that he reported his ladders stolen in Worcester. He says friends in the trade have offered to lend him tools so he can keep working. Meanwhile, in Scotland, an electrician who challenged thieves trying to break into his van was confronted with a 6-inch knife, and they weren't offering to cut up his flapjack. Stuart Colquhoun and his partner Kirsty were caring for their new baby at their home in Livingston when he heard a noise outside around midnight. He discovered 2 masked men at the rear of the vehicle. Colquhoun says the duo had an attitude and just didn't seem to care. When one of them pulled the blade, he returned to the house and locked the door. The police arrived 15 minutes later, but by that point, the 2 masked men had fled empty-handed. When he went to inspect his van, he found a 3-inch by 3-inch hole had been cut in the back door. Colquhoun regards himself as one of the lucky ones, but he says getting threatened with a knife when you have a family in the house isn't a great thing. The police have put out an appeal for information. If you're worried about tool theft and you have an account with independent electrical wholesalers such as Devondale or Grant & Stone, you can now get a discount on a special alarm and insurance package. It follows a deal between independent builders Merchant Group and security firm ARMD. The offer includes a smart van alarm, a tracker and insurance to get you back on the tools should the worst happen. Now, you spoke and we listened. This week we're launching our brand new platform for free training packages to help you with your CPD. This option allows you to take a super flexible approach to your online training. You can do things like pause a course and pick it up later, store and access your results, and best of all, you'll receive a PDF copy of your completion certificate to print off and proudly display to the world. Or at least to your family. For our first educational series, we flew to Dublin to work with Robus at their excellent visitor experience centre. All you need to do is click the link in the notes to register, then watch the video which explains lighting terms, types of lighting and efficiency, then answer some multiple choice questions, and ta-da! You can bask in the warm glow of self-improvement. Again, the link to the CPD platform is in the show notes. Please flood round it like a shoal of mackerel and keep your eyes peeled for future content dropping on that in the coming weeks. You can also bask in the warm glow of F1 cars at the British Grand Prix in July, thanks to a special promotion by Marshall Tufflex at CEF Live. CEF Live, the UK's biggest electrical event, is returning to the NEC Birmingham on the 8th and 9th of June, and Marshall Tufflex will be there. To enter, you'll need to visit the stand and take on darts professional Mark Dudbridge in a special game of 301-501. Anyone who achieves the 301 before Mark gets 501 will be entered into a prize draw to win the trip to the Grand Prix. If you're at the stand on the Thursday, you'll also meet the eFIXX team who will be talking to contractors, sharing ideas and checking the latest innovations in cable management. On display will be the company's van-friendly 2.4 metre lengths of conduit and mini trunking, the base or range of cable tray and wire basket, the Bio series of antimicrobial trunking, and a number of underfloor to desk cable management products. If you'd prefer that new products come to you, then keep an eye out for the Lewden Roadshow, which starts its UK tour next month. As well as showcasing the full Lewden product range, there will be cool experiences such as augmented reality and virtual showroom tours. The van was really popular when it was launched 5 years ago and toured 275 wholesale branches. Check out the dates on the Lewden website and follow the firm on social media with the hashtag #LoveLewden. And speaking of Lewden, just before we get to your favourite bit of the show where I reveal last week's challenge words and winners, we want to thank our premium partners. We couldn't make the news without you. First up, for all your circuit protection needs, they're like having an Italian star striker in your Premiership team, it's Lewden Palazzoli. And the best thing to come out of Yorkshire since stainless steel, it's Doncaster Cables, the home of EV Ultra and other groundbreaking and quality cables. And one of the biggest lighting companies in the world because their capital is always Dublin, it's Irish lighting manufacturer Robus, home of great quality and innovative lighting products. Big thanks to you all, we really appreciate your ongoing support for the news. If you think you know the words I've smuggled into this week's show, pop your guess into the comments and we'll dig out a goodie bag prize to the first to get the right answers. Last week's words were parakeet and hypnosis, and the first person to get both right was Cumberland1234. Can you imagine the frustration for that poor viewer putting in 1,233 attempts at a username starting with Cumberland before they got one that was available? Anyway, dear viewer, soothe your irritation by clicking the link in the show notes and claiming your prize. Thanks for listening to this episode of Electrical News Weekly. Make sure you subscribe to receive the next update. Thanks for listening, and until next time, have a great week, stay safe out there, and remember, there's no such thing as a torque calibrated arm.